Hey y'all, welcome back. So today I want to do something a little different. We've been doing a lot of vlogs, just what my day looks like, what it's like when I go to events. I got an hour-long drive and I said, it's time to have the conversation. So, I'm single and I really can honestly say I've never been in a really serious, long relationship. My longest relationship was 5 years, and we probably broke up for enough time where you could say that relationship was really only 4 years. And, why is that? I hate when men say, oh, well, there must be something wrong with you, or why are you single? Maybe there's something wrong with the men. Or maybe I've had other priorities in my life before having a relationship, which was the case. Once I had my daughter and her father and I weren't together, my priority really was my career and making sure that I could give her everything she wanted. And don't get me wrong, he was a wonderful dad, so it wasn't like I was doing it on my own. But, there were certain things I wanted her to be able to have that was going to require a good two-parent income. And for myself, my career was really important to me. I didn't want to feel like me having a kid meant that my life had to be different and that I couldn't pursue the dreams I wanted. So I had to really be able to balance being a mom and this career. And a man just didn't fit into that. Did I date at times? I did, but having to think about getting a babysitter, because let me just be clear, my mom was not grandmom babysitter. I had to make a choice. And for me, my choice was being a mom, a great mom, being able to give her all the things, and balance that with having a career and having to go above and beyond because I was a black woman. So I just didn't feel the need to have a relationship, and dating was hard. And then those few times when I did end up in relationships, those relationships always came with something. Like, I could fall for someone. One person that I really fell for, I did know that he was married, but he explained that they were separated and they were on two different coasts. So that seemed very possible, probable. And we were together for like a year and it was fantastic. And then at some point she came back, and I guess she wanted her husband back. And he realized that he could not afford to divorce her, because then he would have to take care of his child and her and still try to take care of himself. And that was hard for me, but it is what it is. And then the other relationship that I ended up in was, again, complicated situation. It was someone who I did not know. He had been dealing with a married woman for years. They had known one another and actually dated, messed around, I don't know, like in their 20s. She got married, moved on. At some point, the marriage wasn't great. She came back around, like their whole friend crew, and they started messing around. And he was very happy with that situation, and I guess she was too. And then he met me, and he got really into me, and she wasn't happy with that. And mind you, I did not know that this was going on. So I'm just happy in this relationship. He's into me. We're taking trips, we're shopping, we're together all the time. And she started causing problems. And at the same time, he was emotionally tied to her. And there was trauma bonding. And when she reared her head that this was not okay and she wasn't willing to let go, she divorced her husband. And that did not immediately cause him to leave me alone. Like, he wanted this relationship, but he also could not disconnect from her. And it was just 4 years of bullshit. Like, why I was even in it for 4 years, child, don't ask me. The shit that we do. So it gets me back to my point of what I wanted to discuss, which is, you get these women, and right now I'm talking about younger women, but it can be women our age too, who have never been successful in love, have everything going for them, and willing to do what it takes to be in a relationship, and they just keep failing. And my two examples are Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. And my heart breaks for both of them as young women who we see want love. They have created careers for themselves, lives, fortune, so they have a lot to offer. And they also want to offer being a partner. And they keep ending up in these relationships that, you know, crash, burn, and die. You know, that's kind of, get out of here. You know, that's kind of how I look at it. I mean, Megan Thee Stallion, I know she went through everything with the Tory Lanez and the shooting, and she got a lot of backlash from it. That's a whole nother story. And if that were enough to be a red flag, then these men shouldn't be dealing with her. But she's had two serious, very visible relationships where she looked happy. You know, and that's one of the things we have to remind ourselves is we look happy. But I believe that she was happy in these relationships because she expressed that. It wasn't just what we saw her doing. And then these men just disappoint, decide this isn't what they want. Decide after all of this visibility, all of these moments, this time spent, that they still want to be out here dating, or they want more than one woman. That is terrible for women's confidence, and yet these women continue to survive. Cardi B is another one. You know, her realness, having babies with men. I know she loves her babies and shows how much she loves her men, shows her life with them, with her community. And these men just take advantage of that. And then the next thing you know, they're cheating, then they're pleading with her, and then they still cheat again. Or then there end up being rumors about them and you know, what their sexual orientation is. And it's a repetitive cycle for these women. And it's like, should they be looking at changing the type of men they want? Because, you know, clearly they want someone who is at their level in terms, I'm going to assume, of financial wealth. But you can have that without them being someone who is also a star, celebrity. And they're choosing these celebrity men, which I feel hurts their scenarios even further, because these men at their ages are not ready, clearly, to settle down. But for the women, they are, because we want to have babies. We want to be in love. We want to be, you know, homemakers. Mind you, I don't know that I've ever had those goals, to be quite honest. I've never really fantasized about getting married. I don't know why. And I know that it's not just them. Those are just like two examples that are very visible to us. And I was just listening to the lyrics of one of Megan Thee Stallion's songs where it's like, you should want to be with me. And you would be stupid not to get with this, because I got my own. And it's like, yeah, but you're not talking to a celebrity. And he's saying, girl, bye. A man said to me years and years and years ago, I wouldn't say it was at least 20 years ago, and I have never forgot it. It didn't knock my confidence, but it was the reality for me for how men think. This was an average guy. Like, he wasn't nothing I was chasing or interested in. He said to me, I can get you, meaning you're beautiful, successful, you have a nice home, you got a lot going for you, and not only a younger version, but in multiple ethnicities. That was like, damn, he's absolutely right. And women don't always have that same ability and leverage when it comes to men. Men have a higher ability to do that. And that, I believe, is one of the reasons why it is hard for them to settle. And then it becomes, at some point, there is something about a woman, though, that finally makes him say, I've had Felicia, Rashonda, Tamika, Renee, but Kelly, she's different. And you know, I'm just like, what does Kelly have to have? What does Kelly have to have? Because is part of it, you're too visible. You know, too many people know you. So that would case of a Cardi B and a Meg Thee Stallion. You want to post us too much. You're too busy. I want to be the visible person, or low key, but I want you to be low key too. Like, is there something that a man is saying that he wants us to shrink ourselves in order to give us, to reciprocate the kind of love and relationship that we want? And I don't know the answer to this, so it's kind of a dialogue with us. I just know at 55, going on 56, with my needs in terms of a relationship, I want to date. I mean, you know, full transparency, I haven't had sex in probably 3 years. Now, I do blame menopause for part of that, because clearly, you know, our libido goes down as we lose our hormones. But still, the intimacy, the hugs, the kisses, the come here, girl, you know, I want to feel that, the chemistry. But having to open myself up and go down that dating pool of trial and error, and how many frogs do you have to kiss until you get there? How much do you have to settle at this age to get what you want or close to it? Because so many men are now married, or maybe they're on their second time around, they've had a divorce and now they're not ready to get back into that kind of relationship, a monogamous relationship. And I've had men say to me up front that, you know, that were interested in me, but they are not monogamous. They are basically polygamous, where, you know, they don't want to marry two women, they don't want to be married, but they want to be able to have more than one woman and be comfortable that they are not cheating because the women know about it. Well, that was a hard no for me. But yeah, how much do we have to sacrifice to find love in our 50s? And are you willing to do that? Like, where are you in your life if you aren't married, or if you aren't happy even in your marriage? Is it better to be in a relationship and know that at 70 years old, if you fell in the tub, there's someone there to help you out? Even if you're not happy, even if you've settled. And when I say settle, yes, I do mean looks, attractiveness, but I don't mean that entirely, because most of the men that I've dated are not what I would describe if someone said, what was my type? Most of them, except for maybe one. I've always gone for their intellect, how they make me feel, our interests and compatibility, and definitely chemistry. Like, you can't kiss, I'm not even interested. So how much do you sacrifice? And when you do sacrifice, are you happy? So if I was in my 30s and met Joe Rich, and when I say rich, I mean rich, wealthy, you know, I'm going to have the life that I want, I might have been willing to sacrifice, because I'm just going to make my life what I want it to be. I don't know at 55, and with the mouth that I have, and just the freedom that this age gives you, and having my own, and knowing I don't need Joe Rich. Joe Rich might be a want and might make me more comfortable, but I don't need him. Whereas in my early 30s, maybe Joe Rich would have been like, I need this. This is great. I don't know that would work, because is that one of our problems once we get to our 50s? Is one of our problems that we are too outspoken, too willing to speak up for ourselves, too concerned with our own well-being, that again, men would prefer going younger, or, you know, that's where it causes us issues in terms of being in a good relationship, a long-term stable relationship. So I don't know where I am in the dynamic of dating. I'm not doing anything currently to try to date. I don't know that my social media presence wouldn't be an obstacle for dating. I don't know that if I was in a relationship, I would be able to completely separate that part of my life and not have him a part of it, because part of my social media presence is being, you know, transparent and sharing my life with someone. So someone who's like, I never want to be on social media, I don't want to be involved. Like, number one, I wouldn't enjoy that, but number two, I would probably be like, well, why not? Like, do you have a side joint somewhere that's married and you don't want to know about me? Like, so this conversation really is for me just to ask back to you, what do you think, and where are you in your dating life, and what do you think the obstacles are? You know, if you're married, what are some of the things that you feel we need to be doing as women, or could be doing, that make us more desirable, that maybe we don't do? And if you are dating, where do you meet men? Because in Philadelphia, I feel like I know 85% of the single, at least black men, in the age range that I would date. And I don't want to date any of them. You know? I would date a white man. Would you date a white man? I think I would date a Spanish man. I mean, I would date other ethnicities, just say it like that. But there are still certain characteristics that I'm looking for. It's that chemistry. There's the compatibility. You know, could I just date someone who just is totally not Americanized? Let's say he's Asian and very traditional, and looking for someone who is a little more toned down than me. I don't know that I could do that. But I am open to dating other ethnicities. I would actually like to, but I don't even know where to start. And you might say, dating apps?
Stay in the second or third lane from left.
Thank you. If you say dating apps, let me know some good ones. Tell me a dating app you have had success on. Because I have had women say that they've had success on dating apps, but they've all been much younger. And when I look at some of the options in my age group, they're very often looking for the younger ones, or they're playing around too. You know, they respond once, they don't respond back. There's no real tie-in. They're so preoccupied with managing so many other women's profiles that they're already talking to. They're like, yeah, I need some help with this. I'd also like to just know how you feel about the topic overall, because I want Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B, I want them to win. I want them to win in love. I love the fact that they've been able to create these lives for themselves, but I want them to win in love too. And I don't know if that means like take it off the internet. Keep it private for a while. And we all have that issue. You know, we get into a relationship early and we're posting it. And then we're looking at their page 8 months later and realize, oh, I haven't heard her talk about him in a while. Oh, I don't see the ring on her finger anymore. Oh, some pictures are removed. Or, oh, she's talking about I'm outside. It's hard. It's hard because we're in an era of social media and just sharing our lives. And I enjoy sharing my life. But does me wanting to date mean I have to make some changes? So I just thought I'd pop on here today, have a real conversation with everybody, and hope that this generates a real conversation, and that maybe I learn something that I want to do differently, learn, you know, some apps that I can use or ways that I can find men to date, because it's not just go to happy hours. It's definitely not that. I'm on my way to get my hair done. I have like 40 more minutes, but I would love for you to like this. I would love for you to comment and subscribe, save it, and definitely come back and tune in for my channel. Talk to you soon. Toodles.